All right, so we are close to our destination for picking up gold in Pennsylvania, or actually prospecting for gold in Pennsylvania. At Wawa. Yes. P-break. Told you we love Wawa. Even though it's expensive, we love Wawa. What? When the Trumpster gets in office, he said that he is going to, right? He is going to put a tax or a tariff on items that come from overseas to the United States. How is that going to impact the auto parts industry, right? So there's no secret that you can buy online fake and knockoff OEM parts, because that's just how smart these overseas manufacturers are. You know for a fact, because I'm telling you, that even a premier parts distributor has quality issues and does not disclose that when they advertise the parts on eBay or Amazon. They do not say this is a blem and does not fit or does not work. They already know that there's problems with this mass-produced product line. The manufacturer will not take it back. They are stuck with it because they negotiate these prices. And then the math to get that resolved is just astronomical. And they already know the formula for this, and it's in their contractual agreements, is you get a container of bad shit. In most cases, you're eating it and it's stuck on your shelves. And what do those people do with it? Amazon, eBay it, and then you have third-party salespeople on Amazon and eBay who are selling this garbage to you even cheaper than the place that they bought it from. So how do you fix that, right? So the Trumpster is going to come in. He's going to say, well, if you're buying catalytic converters overseas, made in China, and you're selling them in the United States, well, you're no longer going to sell that product at peanuts cost of goods, which is an inferior product. Now that consumer who's consuming those product lines is going to see them double, triple, quadruple, if not wind up being the same as your local parts store. So what will that do to us? It is going to either deter people from fixing their car. It is going to maybe continue the behavior of buying that garbage. Or it's going to make people buy locally from dealerships and local parts stores, and stimulating our own economy. Now, I could be wrong, but this is just my thought process here is, if you go online, and we're just going to say that you can buy this product online, and I'm not sponsoring this, and I'm not sponsored by them. If you can buy this product online, how much does this cost in the store for
one?
For one, $30?
No, it's too.
You get a special deal.
Oh yeah.
What does the regular?
25.
Because April buys so many of them from the Dot Shop.
Yeah.
And the Dot Shop is layman's terms for the Indians, right?
Yeah.
Which is fine. I have Indian customers or Muslim customers or whatever you want to call them. They're people. But sometimes they identify as what their beliefs are and what their origins are. So the Dot Shop, she buys one for
Two for 35.
2 for $35 is the regular price?
No, it's one for 25.
1 for $25 or 2 for $35. So she gets a deal because she goes every week and pisses her money away on chemicals. That's okay. This is in relationship to if you can buy them online from China, right? They don't cost 2 for $35. They probably cost these guys $3 a piece. Now, if the customer who's buying these for the retail store or whatever, right, from overseas, is now going to see a significant cost increase.
Mm-hmm.
But if the U.S. branded products are the same price at a convenience store or a online store, why would you consider to continue to buy those products? I really don't know the answer there. I know for a fact that I buy, quality catalytic converters from a vendor that's a brick and mortar in Philadelphia, and not all of the product lines that they have are 100% quality and work. We test, and I work very closely with the sales manager and we know what products are solid and which products are not, and we pick and choose the products that I sell. And I also have one brand that I swear by, which is the MagnaFlow brand, MagnaFlow catalytic converters. Although they are expensive, they seem to work better than any other aftermarket catalytic converter that you can buy. And they outperform any eBay or Amazon Chinese low quality blend product that does not have the precious metals and load inside the catalytic converter. So I want you to think about catalytic converters. We're just speaking product line of gold, silver, iridium, platinum, precious metals, right? We all know how expensive they are. When you buy a catalytic converter for $15, $25, $75, or $90, right? How much precious material is inside that catalytic converter that you're buying on top of the tooling, the assembly, the shipping, the boxing, the label? I'm going to tell you, zero. That's why they fail. You bolt this nice part on, it looks beautiful. It seems lightweight and cheap quality. It is exactly that. It was the cheapest quality stainless. It's the cheapest quality of everything to assemble that. And what it's missing is the expensive precious metals inside that make a catalytic converter work. That's the truth. And that's what you're getting from China and these knockoff companies. Not including when a manufacturer makes a product line, and we have seen this, that their formulas for catalytic converter efficiency are borderline, right, of what that is required to keep the check engine light out. That means that engine has to be working has to be 100% efficient, at least as efficient as it was the day it was made. And they set those minimum standards for the precious metal in the aftermarkets. And even though it's close to what it needs, we call it the load, that it does not satisfy the engine light because the customer does not have an engine that is running at its peak performance. If you understand what I'm saying, meaning they sacrifice the quality and the money materials in the converter on the hope that it will sell and won't come back. And then if they have a product line run of that, they wind up taking that and shipping it or selling it to a third party or selling it off, not saying that it's a blem or a defect, and you buy it and then you're stuck with it in most cases. And you'll see that catalytic converter companies put these clauses in now that they will no longer, even dealerships, warranty a catalytic converter unless you, 1, tune it up, 2, do a fuel injection service, 3, at least change your air filter. So a lot of qualifiers for that. Send them a picture of the catalytic converter body if it's melted down inside because your engine caused it to fail. So the point here is a $75 or $50 catalytic converter on eBay or Amazon or from China or from whoever the Fugazis are is not a quality product. Trumpster is going to put a tariff or a tax on these products, and that will probably just end that market, right? If they know that. Now, AutoZone, Advanced, and all those other guys, I would say probably buy a lot of Chinese products, right? I don't know this for the fact, but if they have to raise their prices because they buy China products all the time for their shelves and rebrand those China products in their branded boxes, right, AutoZone or Advanced, they know that their cost of goods is going to double or triple, and therefore it's going to reflect in the consumer purchasing it online or in their stores. So how do you combat that? Then you're going to have American-made products with better quality, you would hope, and that they would come in less than the new tax or tariffs on imported items. So is it good for the U.S. economy? I guess we're going to find out. What I do know is once the consumer catches up to saying, well, I used to buy in April's vapes from China for $3 a piece, right? Now that same Chinese vape cost 3, 6, 9, $12, right? Cost $12 from China to the U.S., not a brick and mortar. Once the brick and mortar gets that $12 part, it's probably going to be $25 for that one vape. Now online, since there's no technically brick and mortar, they're a third-party seller, they may sell it for, just give an example, $15 or $12, hoping that they'll sell millions at a lower profit instead of, higher profit and selling less, right? Volume of sales versus low volume and high profit. So people have different expectations of profit margins for everything, and that's why there's competition. So what will that do to our industry? Well, you're going to see parts cost more unless more companies start getting back into the manufacturing process here in the United States. And how do you fix the U.S. economy? You're going to have more U.S. jobs for the American people, and you're going to have more industry for the American people. Are we going to see the next industrial revolution in the United States? Right? Is that possible? Well, there's going to be a lot of moving parts to that. Like, we're going to have to be able to build buildings and real estate and the cost of doing that stuff at a much more affordable rate. I feel that labor costs, hence they say why they opened the borders to bring in not necessarily cheap labor, right? Because they're getting the same wages that you're getting for your job, right? And they're getting priority for the position. And they're saying, well, we don't have anyone to pick the corn or pick the cotton and mow the grass and do this. They're not all coming here for that. They're coming here and they're open landscaping businesses. They're opening roofing businesses. They're opening their drug cartel businesses. They are online. They're not as uneducated as you think like a third world country is. And I'll just give you an example of that one social media influencer who actually got deported because he was influencing migrants and immigrants and asylum seekers to go steal, to go live off the system, to go squat, and he was telling them how to do it all illegally, and he was illegally himself here, never reporting back in 30 days to complete the process of becoming a U.S. citizen. Remember? They got his ass and they exported his ass, and he is exonerated from the United States now. So he was social media influencing asylum seekers and illegal entries from the border on how to get free money from the government, how to live for free, how to feed off the fat, rich land, and was bragging about it, although he was right. There's so much here in the United States if you do it correctly. But he was teaching people how to do it incorrectly, and the system just isn't smart enough. And now the Trumpster said, yeah, well, we're going to put an end to all this shit. So they can come here for minimum wage and more, and the opportunity for them is endless here in the United States if you do it the right way. And that's all the government is saying. You come here, you do it the right way, and then you will have the fruits of what it means to be the U.S. citizen. We have that unity of the United States. You are here for your country. You are not here for just yourself, right? You're here for your country. And the people who do not do it the right way, you're not here for your country because the law says this is the way it goes. And that's the biggest argument, is you're not exempt from the laws because you're an asylum seeker and a migrant and an immigrant. No, you're playing in the gray areas outside of that. We want you to get through the processes. We want you to take that oath. We want you to be a U.S. citizen even though you weren't born here. And we're going to give you that opportunity. But they want those people here and saying, well, that was your cheap labor force. That's not your cheap labor force. If minimum wage averages $15 to $20 an hour, that's what all the Americans are getting. So where's your cheap labor force? There isn't. There's going to be a lot more changes. And I feel that's where and I'm not just not politics. Trump is saying, hey, we're going to gut the government, even though he's part of the government. You need certain aspects of it. We're going to gut the fat pigs in our government. And all levels. And he brought in Elon Musk, super smart dude. And why wouldn't you have the brightest and the smartest and most efficient and effective people in your corner? That's what he's doing. He's got the pit bulls and the brains instead of the fat cows. That's exactly what it is. So he's going to gut them trillions of dollars, if not more, and he's going to give that money back to the people is supposedly the plan. Hopefully it does in some shape or form. How that works all out, I'm not really sure. He's saying no overtime on taxes. Okay, well, not a lot of businesses can afford to pay overtime. So that's a small percentage of people that will benefit from that. Waitresses and all these other people are going to not pay taxes. So the working class or, that area will see a benefit, but it's not like everybody's on overtime because a lot of companies have already addressed we have more employees in a less of an employee pool because people don't want to work 40-hour work weeks. So we have a lot of part-time people who don't get overtime as it is. So it is a move in the right direction. But saying that immigrants and migrants are going to be the ones cutting the grass and doing all that, nope. They're your next entrepreneurs putting you out of business. That's the truth of the story here. They are not cheap labor. There is no cheap labor in the United States anymore. They set standards for minimum wage. And what they have to do is drive down the cost of living, the cost of land, the cost of housing, the cost of vehicles, the cost of food, fuel, to build the strength back up for the United States. And how do you stop that? Well, you got to stop other countries undermining you from having places for the American workers. American worker. Follow me? Mm-hmm. And if you're an immigrant, you're going to become an American worker if you do the right thing. Even though you were born in, China, now you're here, you're an American. You're descent of China, right? But now you're an American. Chinese American? I don't know. So hopefully, this is what I see is it's going to get better. Maybe you'll see, more industry show up back here in the United States and more for people to work. And it just makes sense if you reduce the cost of what it costs to live in the United States. You're gonna have a happier people, and that's less of overseas products in America. And everybody says we want America strong and great again. Well, then you need to get America to be America all the way around. And that's that. Well, you want your French wine? Well, you're going to pay up for it. Right? You want your Chinese parts that don't work, that are knockoffs? Well, you're going to pay up for that. When you can just go to your local parts store and get quality parts or the dealership. Now, the dealerships have parts manufactured in Mexico and China and Indonesia. Even our own government has standards for the materials that they buy. Me talking to a guy who tests products for the military. I don't remember his name, but we did have a conversation that they have standards for the metal and the steels and the iron and this and that, and they test those products and say, yeah, dude, this is the cheapest crap and we don't want it. And then if they do go along with a run of products from somebody that's selling them metal, and I heard the story is that they would send them the highest quality piece for them to test. Then when it came for them to produce those products, they shipped them substandard materials, and then they actually caught it in the field and said, hey, this is a problem and you duped us. But this is the government, right? The pieces of the government that the Trump administration wants to gut. So let's see how this goes. Thanks for watching.